2 weeks ago, I entered Meteora's LP competition with $250 for first place, 72-hour minimum positions, and my strategy? Open hundreds of small positions instead of a few big ones. Some of these rugged within days, while others went up over 400% in the time period. I've just closed out the last position, and I'm about to find out if this actually worked. This is everything that happened day by day. Alright, so for some more context, Meteora is a DeFi protocol on Solana where you can provide LP, and what they did is they ran a 2-week competition in the Discord, as you can see by this post right here, and the rules were to create liquidity positions that lasted at least 72 hours, and whoever had the highest percentage win was the winner. And as you can see, the top prize, $250 with at least 5 winners, so there could even be more. So what I assumed was the obvious thing which people would be doing in the Discord were to pick a few solid tokens, maybe checking every day, potentially setting up some wide bias curves or some 50-50 curves. They're deploying a bit more capital and hoping on these really high volume tokens of the day, they can catch a lot of swings and make some profit. But I looked at this and thought, you know, what if I do something which is just the complete opposite? So instead of these large, big positions, I just open tons of small ones. My hypothesis was pretty simple. As this is percentage-based competition, if I can spread my risk across 50 or even 100 positions, depending on how many tokens launch and how well they do, as I don't know which ones are going to do well, hopefully, first of all, my winners will outweigh the losses of the losers. And second of all, the amount I spend will be less than what is available if I win the competition. But to be honest, I had no idea if doing this at all would actually even work. So to set this up, I did set a few other rules as well. I would only go into each position with about 0.01 Solana. You could even go smaller. You could do 0.001. You could go tiny. So this could actually be about $2 of liquidity. Theoretically, you'd obviously be spending a lot more on the rent of the bins, which is, you know, what I've ended up doing. But if I do click on a position and get a bit more information about how we're setting these up. So first of all, I wasn't sure how I would handle this. This is about 2 days in. You're seeing my positions. And as you can see, I have this 50-50 curve set up. And I also have this bid-ask curve, which has actually just fallen out of range as well. So what I did was, first of all, I thought I'll set up a 50-50. And what I'll also do is set up a bid-ask curve like this, going up around 100%. But I quickly realized this probably wasn't going to win me the competition. So this is what I ended up doing for the whole first 3 days of making positions before I even realized, is this even the best approach? First of all, with these 50-50 positions like this, while I can make some decent kind of percentage-based profits, even up to 100% with just this curve, this was 50-50 ranging inside, that's probably not going to be enough to win this competition. I need, you know, 100 to maybe 500% P&Ls if I do want a chance with this. Second of all, I thought these bid and ask curves that just went up, the 70 bins 100%, but also the same problem. If we pump from the very start to the end, all I'm going to make is about 100%. Even if we do get some fees, maybe if it goes up, back down and back up, I'll make around 150%, but it's still going to be tough. And if we just pump straight out, I'm still limited. So what I need to do is I need to make even wider curves, potentially up to around 300%. I think we have an example here, 150, but we might need to go even wider than this for our positions, as we can see right here, in just the hopes of, due to the volume we're doing, we are able to catch a massive pump on these coins. And instead of just setting one position, as you can see, I've set 2 with equal size. And the idea behind this is that, let's say we do pump 150%, and I want to close one of these out, but I don't know if in the end we're going to keep pumping or we're even going to drop back down. So that's why I went with 2. So if we do see a pump, I'm able to actually close one of these out. Obviously, normally, you could have it one position, withdraw half your liquidity or something like that. But just due to the rules of how this competition is set up right now, I have had to go ahead and make 2. So that's my current setup with how I'm going to be making the positions and how I originally did and how I'm going to hopefully be doing going forward. We'll have to see. There is still a week left at the time of recording. And as for the token selection, which is the only other big area, what I did was very simple. There is a lot of great tools for filtering tokens with high fees. And I have looked at these, especially Fabric. I think they have a lot of, their scanners are really good. But what I've actually done is I found it easier just to go on Axiom, go on the Discover tokens, and I would also check the LP Army Discord and look at some of these top tokens right here. And literally, first of all, I would see a few categories, tokens which are your classic multi-day LPs anyway. So looking right now, none of these are, but yeah, maybe like USD. But there's kind of less chances you're going to be able to hit a massive 300x run up or 300% run up on these, but they are very stable. And if they are on a dip, they can be a good opportunity to enter some. As you can see, I did try. Second of all, we have new tokens which are running up, but they're also at an all-time high. So October was at an all-time high. So we have to think, is this token going to hit another 3x or is it going to start retracing? If it's retracing, we don't want to enter, to be honest. We could make a position in the hopes, close it out if it doesn't, and just reopen with our liquidity already lower down, or we could wait for a retracement. And also the kind of third category, which is the tokens that have run up on the day, but they've had a massive retracement. So, I mean, could use this as an example, but it does look pretty just all around dead right now. But this is the kind of thing, because that you'd hopefully a bit more of an organic run up. But basically, it had a run up, it's had a retracement, and we're getting in right at the bottom of the dip. I'm just going to open a position in the hopes of that retracement. But we also have to hope that it takes longer than 3 days before we do that. Because if it runs up and just comes straight back down, we are not going to make anything. So heading over to LP Agent to take a look at a summary of some of my positions, you can see we've got a bunch of new ones I set up yesterday. Some running at a bit of profit, 50% for these Vibe coins. A few a bit lower at the very start of my curve. But if we scroll down and we can see these that have actually been open for 3 days. So these qualify for the time period. And you can see we only really have 2 which will provide us with some benefits in this competition. We've got this one NU coin and we've got this Q4 coin. So I could theoretically close out this top position for 100% gain. And, you know, that would be my best entry so far. You can see, again, as I had one that was 50-50 and one that was bid-ask, the bid-ask has outperformed. And that is why, you know, I've completely switched my strategy just to do this. These were both the same. I could close one out for that kind of guarantee. But hopefully, what we're going to have to do is make some more positions. And hopefully, we'll get a few more high percent P&Ls in the next few days.
A few moments later.
So it's now been a few days, I think around 2 from that last recording, and we actually have some much higher P&Ls. I realized going 50-50 and doing basically anything other than just a bid-ask curve that went up around 500% is kind of stupid. And we actually managed to get 2 P&Ls, both over 200% and one of them over 400%. So this is on the Vibe coin, and you can see it had a run up from around 100k all the way to 880k right now. I actually entered a few days ago on the 28th. So I entered back around here with my position. I kept open all the way and then had a massive pump, and it might not look a lot, but that is, you know, that pump right there is 174%. But all that, and I also got fees from here and just exited. What I did is I made 2 positions. So the first one gave me this 240% P&L, and we closed out just after 3 days. And basically my bid-ask curve was simply a curve that went up from the price which I entered at. And I just put 300% in for both. Not the best, to be honest. Should do something more like 500% now. Maybe we need to go even higher, like 1,000% in a 400 bin pool. But we got this second P&L, which was much larger. We left it open a few more days, about 12 hours longer actually. And as you can see, we got a 430% P&L. Actually went out of range. I had a position that went up, as I said, around 300-400%. And we earned fees when it pumped up, went back down, and then went up again. And that was over 100% just from the fees I made. So basically going forward, we're going to have to make positions where we can actually beat out our own number. And I think we might have to go for a 4-figure % P&L, so a 10x if possible. So it is now once again a few days later, and actually the day the competition is supposed to end. I imagine about 6 hours from right now at midnight on the 12th of October. And we did in fact manage to get an even better P&L. So I'll just go and explain it. It's better than Vibecoin, and it was actually on the Sora coin. So if I go over to Axiom and search this token, we can see a bit of the price action. You can see what market cap it is right now. And I'm going to zoom out, I think, to 6 hours maybe, just for a bit of an overview. You can see it dropped right down to 300k and ran up to 2.3 mil. And I did manage to make a position entering around potentially 400k. I'm not exactly sure. Around that 400k though mark. I was in for a few days, as you can see, from kind of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th. And I actually exited all the way at the very peak at 2 million. But unfortunately, my P&L was only 444%, but it is slightly higher than before. But this should actually have been over 600%, I believe, because when I exited my position, it pumped out my range, but at the time in the pool I was in, there was no liquidity in the upper bins where in the pool I was at, and I believe that might have messed up with my P&L with the price that the pool was at. So it looked slightly smaller, but it is still larger than our last position. If we do go over to LP agent, it does say 500% there, where our other position was only around 400% on here. But this is still, the best position. So now I guess I could try and work out overall if it was profitable. As you can see, a lot of positions completely dead. But you can see some of my unclaimed fees for some of them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close all of these out as well. Competition is now over and the results are out, and I did in fact place first place. As you can see, my 444% P&L did do it, but you can see that even the top 5 were all very fairly rewarded. But the other big question is, did I learn anything as well with the strategy I used? And the answer is actually yes. If you go on my Twitter, I recently put a post up where I put up a few P&Ls. And while some of them look negative, all of these were actually minimum 20% profit. It's due to the Solana fluctuations. But these were all multi-day positions, as you can see, 2 days and even up to 7 days. And previously, this is something I was not really, too comfortable doing because I just didn't do it enough. But by entering such a volume of coins, I got to learn a little bit what makes some of them stand out, and also, how the fee dynamics play over multiple days. It's even at the point where I have a wallet which I'm very selective with the trades, but they are multi-day, and currently every day is green for the last month. And I think the second big thing to take away is there's going to be more competitions in the future. The Meteora team is putting out a ton of posts of these kind of spread competitions to even trading challenges like this. And while, maybe the rules might have to be adjusted, maybe only one-sided sol, or maybe having a slight minimum, I think either one of those would kind of prevent me doing this. But there's a ton of opportunities, and basically I'm here to say, you can't let me keep winning these. Someone else needs to enter these and keep entering. I think there was around kind of 30 entries for this one, but if we can get that number up to, over 50 entries, you can give me some real competition. So make sure to follow the LP Army Twitter, where you can see the thread competitions which are live, but also enter the Discord where Heavy Metal Cook is posting all of these challenges, and I'm sure there will be a new one up soon.